we read or watched, I can't remember, somewhere that part of the reason you were inspired to do it was because you have a friend that works at a hospital that loses power a lot. Then first off, yeah, is that true? And then second of all, if it's not, what inspired you, or just what else inspired you?
Okay. So I do have a friend. He's my friend since I was in grade school. So I think we're already friends for maybe about 16 years already. So he's a doctor, and in the Philippines we have what we call doctor to the barrio. So in English it translates as I think very close to doctor of the village. In the Philippines we do have many islands and we are actually scattered from one another. So most of the time, you need to ride a boat or a plane just to get to another side. And my friend who is a doctor he has this chance to become a doctor to one of the farthest islands in the Philippines. And one of the problems is when it's a bit stormy or during typhoon seasons. Most of the time, their power lines got knocked out, and that's the problem in their area. And what happens is that the people, especially after typhoons, they cannot access the hospital because even the hospital has only a limited amount of power to perform even minor not operations actually but even first aid treatment. So of course they at least need some lighting, something to sterilize their tools with. And unfortunately, that's one of the biggest problems in their area. So this March, actually on the first and second week, we would be installing the first or use windows in his clinic, in his hospital. So that would be also our pilot testing to determine what areas we can improve with the window, with the design. So it's very exciting. And actually, we're supposed to do that this January, but unfortunately, the waves are too big and the ships cannot travel. So we have to wait around this time of March or April, because by then the waves are a bit more calm and we can bring our equipment there. And then for the next question, for the inspiration, actually, there's lots of inspiration that I drew from in creating this project, because actually it's not just a single idea but a combination of different ideas that I had experienced and I had taken from different fields all throughout my life. So if I think yes, that's definitely one of the inspiration, because um, we do are experiencing climate change, and it's sad that most of the time strongest typhoons are being accumulated here in the Philippines. And what's sad is uh, there's nothing much that we can do in terms of controlling the weather actually, but at least to prepare on what we can do once the typhoon hits in. But unfortunately, after the typhoons, most of our farmers actually have their crops destroyed or spoiled. So these crops, they spend maybe about 6 months just to grow it, to take care of it, only to be destroyed for a single night. And what happens is all of their finances actually got literally got washed away. So they cannot sell these crops anymore. So that's one of the inspirations, because I think if we would want to fight climate change, it should not just be future looking. We should shift to renewable energy. Those are really good things. But what I think we should also do is show the present people, the people nowadays, how we can also help them as well in combating the existing effects. Because in that way, we can also inspire them to help us. Because most of the time, people question, why would I need to exchange my straws for metal straws? Things like that, because they find it inconvenient and they cannot see the effect that they will be able to have. And that's one of the things that I want to hopefully to be able to help change their mindset, that doing things in a more sustainable manner is something that not only the future generation would benefit, but even those in the present times. So we should all go for it. So yeah, those are some of the inspirations. There are a lot more. We can finish it until tomorrow if you want. But yeah, there's lots and lots of inspiration. You just have to have an open mind so that you can see when you come across something that might spark that next idea for you. Yeah.
So I will get to another question from the kids, but that we have talked about that idea a lot, Carvey, in our different discussions we've had. The idea that a lot of times the countries that are being hit the hardest by climate change aren't even the ones causing the majority of the climate change. And especially us in North America, who have a lot of the responsibility for the, what am I trying to say, for creating the climate change. It's not impacting us as hard as it's impacting other countries around the world, or even it's kind of, you know, the environmental racism that we see here in Canada, even where Indigenous communities are being affected more by climate change or environmental destruction than the rest of Canada. So we talk about that a lot, and it's important that we do because that's our responsibility for sure.
Yeah. And just to add on that also, and I think because in my time when I was young, all of the all of the future thinking ideas, all of the hype is on how humans would someday become maybe travel to space and create things, those live in space, things like that. And I think those are very big and monumental tasks. And I think trying to help one another to solve climate change in a global scale would be a very good practice. Because I think if we would want to create bigger things in the future, we should now learn to help one another on a global scale. So I think it's not also not about who caused the problem or which country emits this the most amount of carbon, because I think more than being separated as countries, we only have one planet, and I think that's enough as a way to bind us with each other, to and that's a common thing that we all have. So I think if we want to travel to the stars, to the outer space, first we should learn how to help one another in a global scale to fight climate.
Definitely, yes. I love that. That's what we want to talk about, is how we can help, because we're all one humanity for sure.